Future State Aquaman issue 2, Brandon Thomas writing, Daniel Sempier on the art.
Mm-hmm.
Matt, are you the only person who read this?
Connor read it, right?
No, I did read it.
God damn you.
I did.
Okay.
You're all right. You're
yes.
safe.
Okay. I heard him say no. It was no, you're right. And I got it right.
I just felt like Matt jumped the gun there and just heard what he expected to hear, rather than what I actually said.
I don't know why Matt
no,
gets so upset. Like I before we started the show, I said to Matt, "Hey, did you read this thing?" He's like, "I'm not telling you. I'm playing this game."
Because you guys have led me to believe that you've read a certain book, and then when we get there, I'm the only one that read it.
I hadn't led you to believe anything. I was just asking if you'd read a book. It was just a question.
But you've done it. You've done it in the past, so I have to have my guards up.
Why? What happens? There's nothing. It's not like you get to the
unpreparedness, Pete. Like when you're the one, generally speaking, you're hosting, you're telling the book through. We're kind of prepared. Just we'll react off you, whatever you go on, and then you spring on us, and it's like, oh, all of a sudden we have to actually think about what we're saying. It's the awareness of
keeping you on your toes.
And so me and Connor have two different philosophies when it comes to it. When I'm by myself, I want to get through it as quick as possible, right? Connor decides he's going to give a breakdown almost page for page sometimes,
Depends on the book. There's some books where I'm like, no, this needs it. Whereas other books, I'm like, eh.
Yeah. So this one I feel more of the latter because I almost feel like this is kind of a tone poem.
It's weird because this is the other half very much of the two issues where if the first issue was 90% Jackson, this issue is 90% Andy.
Right.
And it really does feel that way.
But yeah, so she gets separated. She's in, they're in the confluence of oceans, and she's missing her leg because her leg got, taken off by that beast. And she ends up with these fish who are like glimmer fish, but they're almost like T1000s at the same time. Like they're
that
like
is a very good description. I was trying to think what's the best way of describing these. Where T1000 is a good one. So
they're living, but they're kind of metallic, and they have this group thought. And so, she washed up on this beach. She's missing her leg, and these glimmerfish are talking to her, and she's asking for help, and so she sends out her like telepathic, aqua power. And one of them jumps up out of the water and attaches to her leg, and it gives her a leg. And so the running thing through this is that the glimmerfish are like, you need to return him. He's a piece of the whole.
The entire issue is our brother. We need our brother back. Let him go.
And she's like, she maintains like, well, no, he chose this. I didn't make him do anything. When I asked for help, he's the only one of you that chose to help.
Or she'll say, this was an accident. I'll give him back once I've saved my brother, being Jackson.
Right. And so, and it goes through her and Jackson's, adventures through the confluence. And, she's...
Matt, you might go in. Yeah, it's all these lessons that Jackson taught her to survive, basically, without a power.
Yeah.
Like, I think the first one is like survival, which is like, just hunting for food, basically.
Right.
You've got them... de-escalating conflicts, and look, basically he's teaching her how to be a hero rather than just survive at the end of it.
Right.
There is an absolutely gorgeous panel. It's where the lesson is patience, and it's them like meditating on top of these rocks in the sea, and it's this silhouette, and it is absolutely gorgeous. Like I cannot give it the justice in the words.
Yeah, and he's sitting. You can tell.
Like cross-legged, classic meditation pose.
Yeah, and she's almost doing yoga. Her hands are outstretched. Yeah.
Yeah. But it's in this like almost like watercolor-esque panel, where it's all the like soft shading and and smudge kind of fades between them. It's absolutely gorgeous.
But yeah, and so as she goes through these 5 years that they've been separated,
the idea is the confluence will take her back there, but the confluence doesn't have any concept of time or space in the same way that mortals do. So what it thinks it's doing, it knows it's taking her back to Jackson, but it doesn't realize that it's taking a quote unquote long time for her, because for the confluence this is nothing.
Right. And so we get some real cool like concepts of her on this like riding a flying shark through a jungle, right? Like,
Yeah,
that's
that is
pretty cool. And then she's with some what look like toad pirates, like
yeah.
whatever, wrestling. Looks like a saber-tooth tiger of some kind or a cave bear, and then also sending a message through the confluence with her, aqua kinesis. No, that's aqua kinesis. What would it be? Aquapathic type of powers.
Aquapathic, yeah. Oh, that's a good word for it. I don't know if that's the official word for it, but I'm
no,
willing to
but
go.
it should be. But and then then it catches up to where we were with Jackson and
Her coming in for the rescue.
Yeah, and the whole Aquaman returns, and she starts to lay a beating on these guys, and Jackson stops her. Even everything that he's been through at the hands of these people.
Kind of like, no, we have to be better.
Right, and then
that's the final lesson, because there's like 4 or 5 throughout the issue.
Mm-hmm.
This final one is restraint.
Yep. And then they end up reconnecting, and there's tears and they're happy, and they end up, it looks like,
and this is where my big problem with the issue comes in, that I'm going to talk about, is when she's come to rescue Jackson, she's brought in this whole army of sea creatures with her aqua telepathy, as we're now calling it. And as they go up to the surface, and they're like, "No, we're together," and Jackson's like, "It's okay. You can let them go now. We'll find our way home. Let them go." And there's this gorgeous close up on both their faces, his face and then her eyes specifically.
Yeah.
And then all the fish, you just get the silhouettes from under the water of them leaving. And what I hate is there is no answer, not even any acknowledgement of what she does with the glimmerfish on her leg.
Yeah, that's also the YouTube.
Like, that's like the entire issue is building up to this. Does she let it go or not? Yeah. Does she stick? Because constantly she's like, "I promise I'll let him go once I have my brother back." Like repeatedly she says that, and the glimmerfish are like, "No, you won't. All you what do they call them? Conductors? Is it?"
Yeah.
You're all the same. Conductors being people who have aquakinesis. You're all the same. You say things, but you have your own ideologies. Your own reasons. And at the end, it's not even like it's left ambiguous. It's because I could live with this ambiguity of whether or not she let it go. There's not even any acknowledgement. There's nothing. There's no question. It doesn't even address it. It's just all the fish go. We know that she let them go, but we don't know about the leg, because it pointedly never does a shot under the water again. We never see her body. We never see if this foot is still there or not, and that is really frustrating.
Yeah. Well, at the end, it kind of ends with them never, like, we know eventually they have to get home because she's part of the Justice League, right? But like it kind of ends ambiguously with them floating in what looks like a chunk. Like, are they home? Are they just in another piece of the ocean?
They're definitely still in the confluence, because the final bit is Jackson. Yeah, remember what I said before? Hopping around dimensions. Some free lost time, which implies that maybe this isn't the 6 years for them or whatever it is, isn't the same on Earth. Some freaky glowing leg thing. So he definitely acknowledged that she had a weird leg. Whether or not she still has it at this moment is different. But again, he doesn't acknowledge that it's gone. And he goes, that's how you make the Justice League, which is that was a whole thing in the first issue.
Right.
And then it just, the final panel is all the ocean in all the odd colors like the confluence was, and just this caption box with, Aquaman and Aquaman escape again. And that's it. Like there is no acknowledgement either way. It's really frustrating.
Yep. But it's beautiful to look at, because the Sampier art is
some of Sampier's best work.
Yeah.
I think I said in the first issue that it was it was probably some of my least favorite of his work, where it was fine, it had moments, but it was okay. Whereas in this, there are so many moments that are just like, goddamn. Well, that meditation on that very same page, there's a panel of her swimming in the sunset, absolutely gorgeous. That stuff at the end with the close-ups on their pages, their faces, her eyes, and just the awareness of what she's doing and keeping control, and she breaks down into tears afterwards. Absolutely gorgeous.
Oh, and too, I should look up the colorist too, and it is, I just It just left my brain as soon as I looked. So I started looking at all the pages you were talking
It's
about.
Adriana Lucas.
That's what I thought.
We've seen a lot of stuff in the past.
Yeah, so it's all these kind of muted colors, right? Like they're not none quite take over every page. It's all blues
even when
and
it's using a lot
purples.
of, even when it is using bright colors, there's a lot of reds and stuff and oranges. It's still fairly faded and muted.
And it just everything works together on the art side of this to make it But no, yeah. So it just, again, this is a book that just kind of, like, I read it early on and I forgot most of it just because it is almost like a series just going. It's a
frustrating book because I was going to give it a 6, I think, just because I liked it well enough, but I did like the art enough to give it a 6, which is, above average. And then that ending with the lack of addressing the leg and the glimmerfish at all, like, again, not ambiguity, just lack of addressing it whatsoever, knocks it right down to a 4 for me.
Oh no, I'm a little bit more, but again, this is why rating things are stupid, because I'm at a 6.5 for this one, and most of that's the art, because they did.
Yeah.
Yeah.